Venus has entered retrograde, and the universe is orchestrating events to ensure you don't overlook the blessings that have been waiting for you all along. Love, money, recognition, everything you've been tirelessly chasing hasn't been eluding you. Rather, it has been circling back, waiting for you to be open enough to receive it. The struggle wasn't about obtaining these things. It was about the walls you unknowingly built, the subconscious resistance that kept you from fully embracing what was already meant for you. But now those walls are starting to crumble, and as they do, an entirely new reality is unfolding before you. With Venus retrograde in Aries, the energy isn't calming down, it's transforming. This isn't a retreat, it's a shift in the battle. What once felt like an uphill struggle is now within arm's reach, but only if you're willing to step aside and let it flow toward you. This retrograde isn't about passivity, though. It requires awareness, intentionality, and a readiness to move when the moment arrives. The path ahead won't be handed to you effortlessly, but the obstacles that once seemed insurmountable are beginning to dissolve. However, something is brewing in this cosmic storm, something that will touch everyone, even those who aren't paying attention. And by the time they realize what's happening, it might be too late. Prepare yourself, because what's coming next is unlike anything you've experienced before. You may think you're ready, but this energy has a way of catching even the most intuitive souls off guard. There's an undercurrent of intensity, a force that will push you beyond your comfort zone, forcing you to step up or risk missing out on something profound. The universe is extending an invitation, but it's up to you to accept it before the opportunity vanishes. One of the most potent aspects of this retrograde is the hidden wealth portal that has quietly opened. This isn't just about money in the traditional sense, it's about abundance in all forms. Venus governs wealth, beauty, and attraction. But Aries is bold, unrelenting, and impatient. This means that financial opportunities won't arrive in slow, predictable waves. They'll come in flashes, unexpected job offers, sudden career shifts, lucrative chances that seem to materialize out of nowhere. But here's the catch. Hesitation is the enemy. If you let fear, doubt, or overthinking creep in, these opportunities will slip away just as quickly as they appeared. This is a time when boldness is rewarded and second-guessing is costly. If you've been waiting for a sign, for confirmation, or for perfect timing, know that those things won't come wrapped neatly in a box. The universe is pushing you to trust your instincts, to leap when the moment calls for it, and to recognize that the biggest risks often hold the most extraordinary rewards. Some doors are meant to be walked through without hesitation. This retrograde is bringing those doors right in front of you. But whether you step through or let them close is entirely up to you. Venus retrograde in Aries is not about sitting idly, waiting for life to shower you with gifts. It's about seizing opportunities with fearless determination. Those who dare to take bold steps, who refuse to let hesitation hold them back, will be the ones who reap the greatest rewards. This retrograde is a cosmic turning point, a call to action for those willing to embrace both risk and transformation. And make no mistake, this is only the beginning. The shifts happening now will set the tone for the months to come, shaking the foundations of your love life, your desires, and your deepest emotional truths. If you've been living in a romantic illusion, believing in a love story built on half-truths or blind hope, Venus retrograde in Aries is about to tear down the facade with blazing intensity. Aries energy doesn't whisper, it roars. It doesn't gently reveal, it thrusts the truth into the spotlight, forcing you to see what's been lurking beneath the surface. Any illusions you've clung to will be shattered, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. This is a time of raw honesty, a moment when suppressed emotions, hidden resentments, and unspoken words demand to be acknowledged. Conversations that have been avoided will surface, whether you're ready for them or not. That lingering doubt, that nagging feeling you've pushed aside, it won't stay buried any longer. This energy is electric with revelation, and once the truth is out, there's no putting it back in the shadows. You'll see people for who they really are, their strengths, their weaknesses, their unfiltered authenticity. Some connections will withstand this fiery transformation, emerging stronger, deepened by mutual honesty and trust. But relationships built on fantasy, avoidance, or fragile illusions will struggle to survive. The universe isn't interested in allowing you to keep forcing something that isn't meant to be. It won't gently guide you away. It will rip it from your hands, making the ending undeniable. Yet there is power in this upheaval. Because once the dust settles, what remains will be real. If you're willing to face the truth with courage, this retrograde can be a gateway to something deeper, something more aligned with who you truly are. It's not about loss, it's about liberation. And sometimes the most profound blessings come disguised as endings. And then there's the wild card, the kind of love story that sneaks up on you when you least expect it. Some of you will cross paths with someone who doesn't just capture your interest, but shakes your very soul awake. It's that eerie sense of familiarity, the instant recognition of a soul you may have known in another lifetime. A connection so intense, it feels as if the universe itself conspired to bring you together. It's a karmic reunion, a meeting woven into the fabric of your destiny. Something you don't chase, but stumble upon, as if guided by forces beyond your understanding. Yes, before watching the entire video, I want to say one thing. If you appreciate even a little bit of the effort I've put into this content, please consider donating a super thanks. But love is not the only revelation waiting to unfold. This Venus retrograde isn't just about romance. It's about the deeper layers of your existence. It's about your relationship with wealth, with power, with status. It's about the illusions you've built around what you think you need to be happy. Right now, something in your life that once felt like a certainty, something you worked tirelessly to maintain, is beginning to slip away. And while it may feel like a loss, it is, in truth, a redirection. A cosmic course correction meant to align you with what is truly meant for you. Some of you will wake up to the realization that the job you once sacrificed everything for has been draining the very essence of who you are. That the financial milestone you've been obsessed with no longer holds meaning. That the carefully curated lifestyle you believed would fulfill you now feels like a cage rather than a dream. The truth is, Venus is not taking anything away from you. It is liberating you from what was never meant to be yours in the first place. It is stripping away the false promises and illusions so that you can finally see what has been underneath all along. And while it may feel like everything is unraveling, like you are standing amid ruins, remember this: not everything that falls apart is a tragedy. Sometimes the things you thought were collapsing were only ever temporary scaffolding, structures built on unsteady ground. Sometimes life doesn't take from you. It clears the way. And what's coming next in this retrograde will not be what you expected. It will shake you, challenge you, and push you beyond your comfort zone. But it will also awaken you, revealing a path that was always meant to be yours, one you were never meant to miss. Venus retrograde isn't just about loss or setbacks. It's a process of deep recalibration, a shedding of what no longer serves you to create space for something far greater. What's leaving your life now isn't a punishment or misfortune. It's a necessary realignment, clearing the path for the version of yourself that is finally ready to step into alignment with your highest potential. The doors that are closing were never meant to hold your destiny, and the opportunities slipping away were never truly in harmony with the future you are meant to build. This is a period of immense energetic power, where the veil between intention and manifestation is thinner than ever. You're no longer chasing illusions or settling for half-hearted dreams. Instead, you're calling in what is truly meant for you, what resonates at the deepest level of your being. This isn't the time for lukewarm desires, self-doubt, or hesitation. The universe is responding with intensity, amplifying whatever energy you put out. If you fixate on limitations, fear, or scarcity, you will see more of it reflected in your reality. But if you choose, right now, to move as if your desires are already unfolding, as if the outcome is inevitable, then the universe has no choice but to meet you at that vibration. Venus retrograde doesn't operate by the usual cosmic rules. It's swift, forceful, and unapologetic. You're not merely attracting possibilities, you're magnetizing them into your orbit with an urgency that demands clarity and conviction. Every thought you entertain, every word you speak, every emotion you invest in is magnified, shaping the reality that is materializing before you. This is not the time for careless affirmations or unconscious doubt. If you allow yourself to linger in the mindset of, "Things never work out for me," the universe will echo that sentiment back to you with absolute certainty. Instead, step into a state of unwavering faith. Move as if what you desire is already yours. Speak as though your manifestations have already taken root in the physical realm. Embody the version of yourself who has already received what you seek. When you walk with that level of certainty, when your energy exudes the knowing that what you want is not just possible, but inevitable, everything begins to shift in your favor. The universe, always listening, always responding, bends to meet you where you are. This is not a test. It is an invitation to rise, to trust, and to claim the life that is waiting for you. The universe is always in motion, guiding you, aligning energies in your favor. But there's a catch. There's something that can completely block this energy, something so subtle, yet so powerful, that most people don't even realize they're doing it. And if you don't recognize it now, if you don't take action before it's too late, you could find yourself trapped in a cycle of stagnation, frustration, and missed opportunities. But don't worry. By the time you finish reading this, you'll know exactly what's standing in your way, and more importantly, how to remove the barrier keeping your manifestations from coming to life. Transformation is inevitable. You don't get to decide whether or not it happens. You only get to decide how it happens, by choice or by force. Change is a constant, but when Venus retrograde in Aries takes center stage, that change becomes unavoidable. It doesn't wait for you to be ready, and it certainly doesn't wait for convenience. If there's something in your life that's out of alignment, a relationship that's been draining you, a job that no longer serves your highest potential, a mindset that keeps you playing small, you won't be able to ignore it for much longer. The universe doesn't whisper forever. When you refuse to listen, it speaks louder. And if you continue to resist, it shakes things up in ways you can't control. You've felt it, haven't you? That growing tension beneath the surface, the quiet unease that never really goes away, the intuitive knowing that something in your life isn't right. You keep pushing it aside, distracting yourself, convincing yourself that things will work themselves out. But deep down, you know they won't. Because ignoring the truth doesn't make it disappear. It only makes the reckoning that much more intense. If you've been suppressing your emotions because they feel too heavy to carry, be prepared for them to rise with force, breaking through the walls you've built. If you've been pretending, you're content in a situation that drains you. Obstacles will begin to form, making it impossible to continue as you have been. Doors will close. The path you once walked so effortlessly will feel blocked at every turn, leaving you with no option but to face what you've been avoiding. And if you've been holding on to a toxic situation, telling yourself it's not that bad, convincing yourself that things will eventually improve, be ready. Because Venus retrograde in Aries won't let you keep living that lie. The truth will surface, undeniable and unfiltered. It will strip away illusions, leaving only what is real. And when that happens, you'll have two choices. Resist, which will only bring more suffering, or surrender to the transformation and step into the life you were meant to live. This is your moment. The universe isn't against you. It's guiding you. But you must be willing to listen. You must be willing to release what no longer serves you, to trust that what's falling apart was never meant to stay. The energy is shifting, and you can either move with it or be forced into change. The choice is yours, but make no mistake. The time for avoidance is over. The only way forward is through. The shifts you are experiencing are not punishments, nor are they meant to break you down or cause unnecessary suffering. Rather, they are part of a much greater process, one designed to bring you into alignment with the life you are truly meant to live. The universe does not conspire against you. It conspires for your freedom. However, freedom does not always come gently. If you resist change, if you cling to old versions of yourself, outdated situations, or comfort zones that no longer serve you, the process becomes much more difficult. Pain arises not because the universe is cruel, but because transformation is often uncomfortable, especially when we resist the natural flow of life. You cannot remain the same while standing in the midst of powerful energetic shifts. The universe is not passive. It is dynamic, constantly shaping and reshaping the trajectory of your path. Whether you are ready or not, evolution is happening. You have a choice. You can move with the energy, trust the process, and allow yourself to grow. Or you can resist it and be dragged forward anyway. One of these choices brings grace while the other brings struggle. But no matter what, movement is inevitable. Right now, the universe is shaking things up, revealing truths that were once hidden and reopening doors you thought had been permanently shut. This is not by chance. Venus retrograde acts like a cosmic rewind, forcing you to revisit parts of your past you may have thought were long gone. It does not matter if you have healed, moved on, or convinced yourself that certain chapters are closed. If something or someone resurfaces, there is a reason. It may be unfinished business, a karmic lesson that still needs to be understood, or a final test to see if you have truly outgrown the patterns that once defined you. This energy is not asking you to regress, nor is it inviting you to relive past mistakes. Instead, it is giving you the opportunity to reflect, reassess, and most importantly, to respond differently this time. When the past returns, it is not to haunt you, but to reveal what still needs resolution. Pay attention to what is being stirred within you. Is it closure you need? A different perspective? A reaffirmation of your growth? Whatever it is, the universe is not being random in its timing. It is placing these situations in front of you with intention. The key is to meet this moment with awareness rather than fear. Instead of resisting, embrace what is unfolding with curiosity and self-compassion. Trust that everything happening now is guiding you toward a higher version of yourself. Growth is rarely comfortable, but it's always necessary. Let the universe do its work. Surrender to the flow, and you will find that what once felt like chaos is actually a divine orchestration leading you exactly where you need to be. Not everyone who returns is meant to stay, and not every familiar face from the past is a sign to rekindle what once was. Some people come back into our lives merely as reminders, silent echoes of the versions of ourselves we have long since outgrown. They return not because they are meant to stay, but to highlight our transformation, to show us how far we've come. There was a time when you waited for them, when you chased them, when you loved them in a way that felt like the very essence of your being. But time has moved forward, and so have you. The emotions that once consumed you may now feel distant, like reading an old letter in handwriting that barely seems like your own. Their return is not a sign to fall back into old patterns, but an opportunity to acknowledge that the person who once longed for them no longer exists in the same way. One thing, please listen carefully. If you want to be a part of our small and lovely family, make sure to take the subscription by hitting the join button. Yet, there are those who come back because the thread between you was never truly severed. Life has a strange way of reconnecting souls that have unfinished business. You might find yourself thinking of someone you haven't seen in years, their name appearing in unexpected places, a song that reminds you of them playing just when you least expect it. And then suddenly, there they are. A message, a call, an encounter that feels too coincidental to ignore. The past knocks, but before you reach for the door, ask yourself, is this a reunion meant for healing, or a cycle doomed to repeat? The universe does not toy with our emotions for sport. It presents us with choices that force us to reflect. Venus retrograde, in particular, is not just a time of random reconciliations. It's a cosmic mirror, bringing back unfinished lessons, unresolved emotions, and people who once played a significant role in our story. But why? For clarity? For closure? For a final test before moving forward unburdened? Just when you think you have your answer, something even greater emerges. A force beyond old love, beyond nostalgia, beyond longing. This is not just about them. This is about you. Who have you become since they left? Who are you when they are no longer the center of your world? Perhaps this return is not about rekindling, but about recognizing. Perhaps it is not about reliving, but about releasing. There is always one event in a retrograde that affects every single person watching, one defining moment that reshapes our understanding of ourselves. The real question is, when the past comes knocking, will you answer the door the same way you once did? Or will you finally realize that some doors are meant to stay closed? Venus retrograde in Aries is anything but subtle. This is not an energy that lingers quietly in the background, waiting to be noticed. It surges forward, demanding attention, insisting on being felt. Aries, ruled by fiery Mars, is a sign of raw, unfiltered self-identity, a force that pushes people to assert themselves, to fight for recognition, to claim their space in the world. Venus, the planet of love, relationships, values, and self-worth, moving backward through this aggressive terrain, distorts these natural instincts. What should be a confident assertion of personal identity becomes an exhausting struggle for validation. What should be a bold expression of self-worth turns into defensiveness, ego clashes, and an overwhelming need to be right at any cost. This energy manifests everywhere, from social media debates to personal relationships. You may notice arguments flaring up out of nowhere, small misunderstandings escalating into full-blown conflicts, and an increased sense of stubbornness in both yourself and others. Conversations that should be about finding common ground instead become battlegrounds for dominance. The drive to be understood mutates into an obsession with proving a point. And even if you try to stay out of the chaos, You may still feel the inner tension, an unshakable restlessness, a simmering frustration, a feeling that you are not being seen, heard, or valued the way you deserve. But here is where this retrograde becomes particularly dangerous. It warps perception, tricking you into seeing opposition where none exists. You might feel abandoned by a friend, when in reality they are simply overwhelmed with their own burdens. You may believe your partner is taking you for granted, but beneath the surface, they may be struggling with insecurities they haven't voiced. You could interpret a simple request as an attempt to control you, when in truth, it's coming from a place of fear, longing, or uncertainty. The retrograde does not want you to see these nuances. It wants you to react. It wants you to take everything personally, to assume the worst, to meet perceived slights with defiance rather than understanding. But the real battle is not with others. It is with yourself. This transit forces you to confront the parts of yourself that still seek external validation, that fear rejection, that equate disagreement with disrespect. It challenges you to ask yourself why you feel the need to prove your worth so fiercely, why the opinions of others have the power to shake your foundation. It is an invitation, albeit a harsh one, to reclaim your sense of self without needing to fight for it, to find security in who you are rather than in how others respond to you. The key to navigating this energy is awareness. Before reacting, pause. Before assuming the worst, ask yourself if there's another perspective. Before engaging in unnecessary conflict, consider whether your energy is better spent on healing rather than proving. Venus retrograde in Aries is a test, but it is also an opportunity. If you can resist the impulse to fight battles that don't need to be fought, you may emerge from this period not just stronger, but truly empowered, rooted in self-worth that does not need validation, secure in your identity without needing to defend it. This moment of conflict may seem like it revolves around another person, their actions, their words, their failures. But what if at its core it isn't about them at all? What if the argument is merely a symptom of something far more personal, a deeper wound that has been waiting perhaps for years to be acknowledged? The retrograde acts as a mirror, reflecting not just the imperfections in others, but the hidden, often uncomfortable, truths within yourself. Those insecurities, fears, and unresolved traumas that you've tucked away beneath layers of distraction and justification. It's easy to get caught up in righteous anger, to feel as though the universe is throwing obstacles in your way, testing your patience with people who just don't seem to understand you. But what if these conflicts aren't hurdles to overcome, but signposts directing you inward? The challenge isn't about proving a point or winning an argument. The real test lies in recognizing when your reaction stems not from wisdom, but from ego. When your defensiveness is less about the situation at hand and more about the emotional baggage you've been carrying for too long. If you refuse to see this, if you allow your pride to dictate your response, if you react without reflection, if you choose the easy path of blame rather than the hard path of self-examination, you will find yourself ensnared in an endless cycle of frustration. Every disagreement will feel heavier, every relationship more fragile, every interaction charged with an intensity that drains rather than enlightens. The universe isn't punishing you. It's pushing you toward growth, toward transformation, toward a deeper understanding of yourself and the way you navigate the world. And the more you resist, the more relentless these lessons will become. This energy isn't something you can simply ignore or brush aside. It will return again and again, in different forms, through different people, until you finally pause long enough to listen. The retrograde is not a force of destruction. It is a force of revelation. It demands that you stop running from yourself, that you stop looking for external enemies when the real battle is happening within. It asks for your courage, your honesty, your willingness to sit with discomfort and learn from it. Because once you do, once you stop fighting the lesson and start embracing it, the conflicts that once felt insurmountable will begin to dissolve. The weight you've been carrying will begin to lighten, and you will emerge not just unscathed, but stronger, wiser, and more aligned with the truth of who you are. When faced with conflict, the instinct to react can be overwhelming. It's easy to fall into patterns of defensiveness, to lash out in frustration, or to let emotions dictate our responses. But true power does not come from proving a point or winning an argument. It comes from mastering yourself. If you learn to pause, to catch yourself in those pivotal moments before reacting, you begin to exercise a level of control that transcends the need for validation. Self-awareness becomes your greatest ally, allowing you to step back from the immediate emotional charge and see the situation for what it truly is. This shift in perspective changes everything. It transforms the energy of conflict, pulling you out of the endless cycle of reaction and counter-reaction. Instead of being swept away by the force of negativity, you anchor yourself in clarity and emotional intelligence. You start to recognize which battles are truly worth engaging in and which ones serve only to feed the ego. You begin to see that real victory is not found in silencing another person, but in maintaining sovereignty over your own thoughts, emotions, and inner peace. Yet, the journey toward emotional mastery is not a singular lesson to be learned once and for all. It's a continuous evolution. Just when you believe you have gained control, life has a way of testing you again. The energy of this retrograde, like a relentless fire, will not only challenge you but push others to their limits as well. You will witness chaos erupting in unexpected places, tempers flaring without reason, and emotions running unchecked. It may feel as though the world around you is unraveling, caught in the throes of destruction. But this is precisely when your strength is needed most. The question then becomes, will you be consumed by the flames, allowing anger and resentment to take hold, or will you use the fire as a force of transformation? Will you resist the urge to react and instead let the heat burn away what no longer serves you? In every moment of turmoil, you have a choice: to allow negativity to diminish you, or to use it as an opportunity to rise, to refine yourself, to emerge from the ashes not as a victim of circumstance, but as someone who has been strengthened by it. This is the essence of growth. Every challenge, every difficult interaction, every emotional storm is an invitation to evolve. If you can hold steady when everything around you is in disarray, if you can remain centered in the face of chaos, then you are no longer controlled by external forces. You become the force itself. You become someone who does not merely survive the fire, but is forged by it, stronger, wiser, and untouchable in your peace. Aries is a force of nature, embodying raw, unrestrained energy that propels forward with unwavering determination. It is a sign ruled by instinct rather than contemplation, acting first and thinking later, often without hesitation or fear of consequence. Aries thrives on immediacy, on the thrill of the unknown, and on the sheer exhilaration of taking risks that others might shy away from. This fiery nature makes Aries a catalyst for change, a bringer of sudden shifts that can be as disruptive as they are transformative. Under Aries' influence, the world becomes a landscape of movement, passion, and unpredictability. Decisions that might otherwise take months to consider are made in a heartbeat. Relationships that seemed stable may suddenly dissolve, and new bonds may form with an electrifying intensity that defies logic. The past loses its grip, and the future is not a thing to be meticulously planned, but something to be seized in the present moment. Aries does not hesitate. It does not linger in doubt or dwell on what could have been. It is always moving forward, always pursuing, always chasing the next challenge with relentless energy. This energy can manifest in bold and daring acts, where people find themselves making life-altering choices seemingly out of nowhere. Some may leave behind careers they once cherished, driven by an inner fire that demands change. Others may walk away from long-standing relationships without regret, feeling the undeniable pull towards something new and uncharted. For Aries, hesitation is a foreign concept. There is no time for second-guessing or dwelling in uncertainty. Life is meant to be lived with full intensity, with every emotion and impulse embraced in its purest form. However, this same energy that drives Aries to greatness can also lead to recklessness. The impulsiveness of Aries can result in sudden upheavals, where actions taken in the heat of the moment cannot be undone. The exhilaration of risk-taking may lead to incredible breakthroughs, but it can also bring irreversible consequences. This is the dual nature of Aries, both a fearless trailblazer and a force of chaos, an initiator of grand adventures and a bringer of unexpected storms. However, there is a truth that often goes unspoken. Just because something feels powerful doesn't mean it truly is. The rush of Aries energy can be intoxicating, a force so intense that it makes every decision feel urgent and every impulse seem like fate itself. It is an energy that thrives on movement, on pushing forward without hesitation, on chasing desires with unrelenting speed. But true power is not measured by sheer action alone. It is defined by control, by wisdom, by the ability to see beyond the immediate moment. Aries is a fire that blazes with passion. But if left unchecked, that fire can consume everything in its path, leaving behind destruction instead of transformation. Without reflection, without purpose, the flames that were meant to illuminate the way forward may instead reduce everything to ash. Strength is not just about the willingness to charge ahead. It is also about the wisdom to pause, to assess, to understand when action serves a purpose and when restraint is the more powerful choice. To act out of pure impulse may feel exhilarating, but true mastery comes from knowing when to fight and when to surrender, when to push forward and when to step back. The greatest warriors are not those who charge blindly into battle, but those who understand the tides of conflict, who recognize that timing, patience, and strategy are just as essential as courage. As we navigate the surge of Aries energy, it is crucial to remain grounded, to channel that passion with intention rather than allowing it to dictate our every move. Enthusiasm and ambition are valuable, but they must be tempered with mindfulness. Let the fire of Aries inspire you. Let it fuel your dreams, but do not let it consume your clarity. Balance is the key, honoring the instinct to act while also cultivating the discipline to reflect. Only then can we harness this energy for true progress rather than reckless motion, turning raw passion into meaningful power. Life is a delicate balance between courage and wisdom, between passion and discernment. Taking risks is essential to growth, but not all risks are equal. Some propel us forward, while others send us tumbling backward. The key is learning to distinguish between the two. Aries energy encourages us to live boldly, to trust our instincts, and to step into the unknown with confidence. However, true strength lies not just in the act of leaping, but in knowing where and how to land. Boldness without direction can lead to chaos, but boldness tempered with awareness creates transformation. Emotions, too, can be a double-edged sword. Feeling deeply is a gift. It allows us to experience life in its richest, most vibrant colors. But intensity does not always equate to permanence. What feels overwhelming in one moment may fade with time. And what seems insignificant today may prove to be life-changing in the future. Aries teaches us to embrace the full force of our emotions, but it also challenges us to remain conscious of their ebb and flow. Passion should fuel our journey, not consume it. If you've made it this far, I want to take a moment to express my gratitude. This space exists because of readers like you, those who seek depth, meaning, and a greater understanding of the energies that shape our lives. If this message has resonated with you, I invite you to stay connected. Your support, whether through subscribing, sharing, or simply engaging with the content, truly makes a difference. And if you've ever felt the undeniable pull of Aries energy, whether in your own personality, in the people around you, or in a specific moment of your life, I would love to hear your story. How has the fearless, fiery nature of Aries influenced your path? What lessons has it taught you? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're finding value in this content, consider supporting our channel by giving a super thanks. It truly makes a difference. And please don't forget to subscribe for more uplifting updates and content that can inspire and encourage you. Your support means so much, and we are grateful for each of you.